Well, what's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here. So, almost the perfect end of preseason, but unfortunately couldn't hold on to the win. Um, ultimately, as I've been saying, it's not about the results. The getting wins are good in preseason, but that's not the point. The point is to give players time. It's a chance to assess where everybody's at, and it's also a chance to get some players up to fitness. So, with that being the idea, not too bad today, just because of that. Obviously, this is not, if I'm gonna be honest, this was probably the weakest game that we've had out of the three, and just that's more performance wise. It's still good to see some of these players getting a chance, and not just to see some players that maybe haven't gotten a look in, and seeing them do well. Sometimes it's good to see who's not gonna cut it, and I think we got a couple answers on that today. So it's always good to get that as well because I hate to say it, but there is that point where you got to say, okay, is he good enough? Well, we're not going to know until we give him a chance. And then you give them the chance, and then they show they're not good enough. That's also good to know, too. So, a couple players I think will probably be moved on after this game because there were a couple that got a chance and showed that they don't need a chance. But, anyways, with that being said, the one thing I will talk about from Tuchel's side of things is, again, we're in that situation similar to Bournemouth, similar to a lot of the games last season, where we're dominating the game, but we don't finish our chances. And this really, aside from the one goal that Timo got pulled back, even though he was onside, aside from that, we had several chances that we should have put away, and we didn't. That's a problem, and it's been a problem, and it's still continuing to be a problem for Tuchel. So I don't know what he's got to do. I don't know if we need. I don't know what we need. Do we need another player that can come in and be a finisher? Do we just need Tuchel to focus more on the finishing side of things at practice? Like, I don't know what it is, but my God, the amount of chances that we wasted today. This should not have been a close game at all. We dominated the first half, but we didn't finish our chances. Yes, again, I know Werner's goal should have been called onside and then he would have scored, and that's all fine and dandy. But, still, how many chances are we going to waste? And then the second half, even, before some of the subs that were made that kind of took the momentum away from us and gave it to Tottenham, we were still controlling the game for the most part. We were still taking the game to them and causing them problems and creating chances that then we didn't finish. So then they go and score two, and suddenly all that hard work seems like it was for nothing. And that's been a problem. So that's something I was hoping to see changed in this preseason. That clinical nature, the finishing ability to get the job done and say, hey, we've dominated this game, we've not let them have a chance. Let's also put some goals away so that way it doesn't feel like, we have the ability to give the game away either. So I'm still frustrated by that sense from Tuchel, just because it's a criticism that I had of him already, and it doesn't look like things have changed much, even with bringing some of these newer players in that we didn't see play under Tuchel. It feels like that hasn't changed yet. So still frustration. Hopefully it'll change. Hopefully, again, we're a lot of talk about bringing in a striker. Still haven't seen any movement for it yet. So I don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, individual performance of Mendy in goal. I will say the second goal probably should have done a bit better, and there was one moment where he bundled it to Son, who, Chalobah blocked the shot after. But a couple of scary, iffy moments from him. I don't know if it's just he really didn't have much to do in the first half, so maybe just kind of losing focus as the second half came on. I don't know, but it felt like there were a couple. The first goal, there's nothing you can do. It's a deflection. But before that, the chance that led to Son, that's one that generally he's good about being on his toes, being ready, and then he gets his hands on it and no issues. But he bumbles it, and then Son, luckily, Chalobah blocks a shot, but it falls right to him. In another game, that could go in. And then Bergwijn's shot, that's, yeah, it's a little tough, but you got to close your legs. You can't let that just slip through like that. That's kind of a simple mistake to make. So, couple issues there. Hopefully, it's not something that's going to continue, because he did have a couple games last season, I remember, where I did get a little bit worried because he had a couple of scary moments. But then it felt like he learned from that and picked up the next couple games. So, maybe it won't even be an issue. Maybe we won't see him make any more mistakes for the next 20 games, and we'll just keep clean sheets for the next 20 games. That would be awesome. But yeah, so a little scary there, but nothing to concern me. It's not like a pattern that I'm seeing like I saw with Kepa, so that's fine. In the back three, started with Zuma in the middle, and then Rudiger and Chalobah were the two flanking. Kind of moved at one point to a back four a little bit in the second half whenever Pulisic came on. A little bit. It was kind of weird, and there was definitely a little bit of a growth period for those 10, 15 minutes that it was like that. Um, and then after that, Miazga, or no, Ampadu and Sarr came on for Zuma and Rudiger. Ampadu was in the center, and then Miazga came on late for Chalobah. So a little bit of a weird back line, and definitely could feel that. As the second half happened, it felt very disjointed. It felt like they didn't really know There were a couple times I felt like they were out of position. They weren't really working together. For the first half, though, it felt like we did have good connectivity back there between the three. And I feel like part of that is Zuma as a center instead of Chalobah, I think provides us a little bit more stability there. And I've got no problem with Chalobah. I think he played well today, but I don't think he's the center of a back three type of defender. He doesn't really do the sweeper role or the stopper role. He's a good defender role. And that's not what you want in the center of a back three. So I think having Zuma back there is kind of a sweeper almost. He made some great challenges where, maybe one of the defenders got beat in behind, but then Zuma's there to clean up for him. That's what you want from that center of a back three most of the time. Sometimes, I've seen it before where you'll put like a David Luiz in there and he'll be more of a stopper and he'll get up into the midfield and the other two drop deeper. But generally how I've seen Tuchel play it is he wants that the center, with Christensen or with Silva, he's had them drop a bit deeper and sort of be the one to be the last defender to read the play. And if either of the other defenders make a mistake, they're there to clean it up. And that's what Zuma was doing pretty well today. So, but he played well. Chalobah, again, I think he looked much more comfortable playing as the side of a back three. Made some great challenges, some good blocks. So, honestly, didn't see too much to be impressed by him in the first two games. I saw a lot of people talking about him. And I just remember thinking he did okay, but nothing really impressed me. I thought today, honestly, was his best game. So hopefully he can continue to grow on that. And there's talks that we might be selling Zuma. I don't know if that's true or not. If so, Chalobah looks a decent option. And then Rudiger, did his job solidly enough. Didn't do anything spectacular today, but he's typically a busybody. He makes good challenges. He's in the good positions. So good to see from him. Ampadu, I think, looks okay as a back in the center of a back three. He never really impressed me with his defensive ability when he was playing for who was it? Sheffield last season. Like, he didn't really do anything that made me go, oh yes, he's going to be a great defender. He's always looked his best when he's on the ball. So there is that to be said, because typically we do keep a lot of possession in our back three, and so if you have him as sort of the connecting pass, I think he can do that pretty well. But the problem is, defensively, can he cut it in the Premier League? Today he did okay, made some good challenges, made the one goal line clearance, but I do worry a little bit just because I watched him at Sheffield, and there were a couple times where it seemed like he wasn't really reading the play very well defensively, and I don't know. I want somebody in that center who's going to read the play well, like Silva. That's what he does brilliantly. He sees everything going on. He's already in the right position to make the challenge. He rarely is caught out of position or loses track of his man. I worry that Ampadu might do that occasionally, so I don't know if that's going to be his best position. But for today, I thought he did well enough. Malang Sarr. I can't remember if I talked about this before, but I just remember thinking, the past couple games, watching him play, I know I've talked about his giveaways. Like, it's been an issue. On the ball, I'm not convinced by him. I think he's very, very mistake prone when he's on the ball. Defensively, he does okay, but nothing spectacular, and those giveaways have been pretty bad. And so I'm thinking, okay, let's see, is he improving on that? And then 5 minutes in, he gives the ball away, and then we've given up a second goal. So where are you improving? It's like Kepa. The one issue you have is moving your feet. You're not moving your feet to get to the ball. Are you improving on that? No, then what are you doing? Sarr, you've given the ball away several times in the past two games. It's been an issue. This is not a new thing. And then you come on, and within 5 minutes, you've given the ball away. It leads to a goal. What have you been doing? What have you been working on? Like, it's just frustrating for me as somebody who knows the sport well and somebody who's played for years. If there's ever been an issue with my game, it's always you work on that. For the striker, if you're not finishing, you work on your finishing. For the wingers, if you're having issues with your positioning, you work on staying wide. Defenders, obviously, if your tackling is fine, if your positioning is fine as the defender, but your passing is terrible, you work on your passing. And has he been doing that? Because I don't see the improvement. So my problem with that is we've sold Tomori. Tomori looked like he was going to be a solid defender. He looked like he was going to come in and look like he was going to really manage the challenge for the first team defensive position this year, maybe next year. Like, he looked like he was going to be a solid defender. Even, Gahey, he had a couple decent games, went to Swansea. I heard he did well there. And then we've sold him. But we've kept Sarr. And I'm watching Sarr play. I'm thinking, we've sold guys that kept him? Like, why have we done that? So, I don't know. Maybe he'll grow. Maybe he'll get better. But watching him now, I would not... As a team that keeps possession in our defense and a team that tends to pass the ball around and really start our attacks from the defense, I don't trust Sarr to be on our defense. And that's a problem. So, and then Miazga came on, and he only had... I think it was about 15 minutes left when he came on, so... had a couple decent defensive challenges, but didn't really have a whole lot of time to get himself really integrated into the game. So I just didn't see much from him. Into the midfield. First, we had Kovacic and Conte. That's about what you'd expect to see, honestly. Jorginho does pop in there every now and then, but Kovacic, Conte, that is your starting midfield, and it showed. First half, we dominated the midfield. Conte, he wasn't even at 100% Conte mode, but he was still controlling the midfield. He set up the goal. He was just dominant display. Kovacic looked more like the Kovacic I expect to see. Last game he had a couple iffy moments, a little scary moments defensively. Today, much more solid, energetic in the midfield, making challenges, moving the ball quickly. And then the second half happens, and Bakayoko steps on the field. Oh yeah, Bakayoko, guys, he's back. Definitely to stay, huh? God. When he stepped on the field, there was that part of me that remembered watching him when he first came to Chelsea. And there was just that, okay, it's fine. It's preseason. Let's see if he's improved. He's had a couple loan seasons. Let's see if he's improved. Gives the ball away instantly. Okay. Nerves. It's fine. So you'll have a few minutes later, gives the ball away again. Okay. It's not a great start for him. Maybe he'll grow into the game. Gives the ball away. Spurs score a goal. And then the half just goes on, and he's walking, and he's slow on the ball, and he's giving the ball away, and he's not moving the ball quickly enough, and Spurs are growing into the game because he's giving them momentum, and I'm just thinking, why have we loaned out Gilmore and Gallagher, and we still have Bakayoko? And maybe they're looking to move him on. I have no doubt after today. There's no way he's going to play for us again. No way. Preseason is where you go out and you go out with a purpose. You go out thinking, I'm going to prove to the manager why I deserve to be on the field. I'm going to prove to the manager I want to play. And you go out there so lackadaisical, so apathetic. It's just, you just show the highlights of Conte in the first half and Bakayoko in the second half. And you don't even have to ask, how did we not win this game? Because it comes down to that. And you could say, oh, well, it's a team sport. It's more than just one man. Yeah, but that one man, when he's the center of your field, if he's the one that's defending and also starting your attack, and he's playing like Bakayoko did today, that affects the whole team. And if I'm any of the guys around him, I'm looking at Tuchel saying, he better not ever be near the first team again. Like, if he's even on the bench, I will not play. Because that was awful. And that's just, if I'm his teammate, I'm pissed. I'm just like, why do I have to play with him? Why do I have to be on the same pitch as him? Because my God, it was just, oh, I tell you, if he had any chance of coming back and playing for Chelsea, he wrecked it today. Because he already had hardly much of a chance at all of playing for us. Today, he just absolutely destroyed his chances of ever being a Chelsea player again. And if for some reason he shows up at the team again, I'm gonna have some issues. Like, there's no reason. I don't care if his. Well, I don't even want to say that. That's dark. It's mean. That's really mean spirited. I'll just say this. There's no reason he should be near the team. No reason whatsoever. I'm not going to go into any specifics on any of the reasons because that's going to get very dark and very mean spirited. And I'm going to try to keep it light because this is preseason. But, yeah, it was bad. It was very, very bad. Loftus-Cheek came on and, again, good on the ball. Got to work on everything outside of that. The one thing that he has is good picking it up from deep and driving at players. He's good at that. It's fantastic at that. He might be one of the best players in the Premier League when it comes to that particular skill. But then the passing in the final third, shots, I don't really see him ever take a shot. Defensive work, he doesn't hardly defend. There's just so much else to his game that he needs to bring, and he doesn't. I still don't really see him as being an effective player, unfortunately. And that's just where he is right now. And I hate it. I mean, I'd love for him to grow into the team and become a fantastic player, but when I watch him play, I'm thinking he's just got that one thing that he does well, and then he doesn't really do much anything else well. So it's going to be hard for him, I think, to break into the team this season, because I think so Conte and Kovacic are my starting two. Past that, you've got Jorginho. Past that, I would say Mount, even though I'd prefer to play him further up the field. If you're going to not be able to play, one of these or two of these three, Mount would be my fourth option. And then I'd probably begrudgingly either choose between Drinkwater or Barkley. Honestly, I'd probably choose Ampadu over those two. And then Drinkwater and Barkley. And then Loftus-Cheek. And then I'd go probably into our youth team. And then somewhere down there, after we've exhausted every other option, even Kepa, then I'd put Bakayoko in the midfield. But yeah, so just frustrating for Loftus-Cheek. I really wanted to see him come in and do something in this preseason and show me something. But honestly, I've not seen enough from him to make me think, yeah, he's gonna make it this season. I think it's gonna be either another loan season for him or he might end up getting moved on. I don't know. But I will say, if we keep Bakayoko and we sell Loftus-Cheek, I will have an issue with that. So I'll throw that caveat out there. Wingbacks, Alonso, okay. He had a good assist for the second goal. And I thought he played okay in the first half. Defensively, he still struggles, and of course that's something he's never really had fantastic defensive ability in his game. But overall, I thought he did okay. I thought he performed well enough. Still, I think Chilwell has the position down, but I think he's showing he can still do it every now and then. He still has those moments. He still pops up occasionally with a good play, so take from that what you will. And then Hudson-Odoi on the right side played well in the first half again, and he tends to start very well. I wish we could have seen him in the second half a little bit just to see if it was going to continue or to see if he's going to fade again. Because honestly, that is the one criticism I have in his game, is the fading in the second half. So I'd like to see him continue to be given a chance to see if he can improve on that, or to see if that's just something that he's going to struggle with because it's just something mentally in his game that he can't get out. But yeah, first half, very good, driving down the line, causing issues for the defense. Defending, honestly, I thought he did okay, which for Hudson-Odoi is not something I expect to say. But, honestly, I thought he played well. So, good to see. Then Pulisic came on. He honestly was not really a wing back when he came on. When he came on, it sort of shifted our back line a little bit, and it made us kind of a back four for a second before Zappacosta came on. And for Zappacosta, I thought he looked lively, looked energetic, kind of gave himself a little bit of a chance to maybe get some time this season. Because, again, he's not a player that I've really considered as an option. But today, he kind of put it in my mind thinking, okay, yeah, I could see him getting a chance now. because I thought he looked very energetic and he gave us some good options down that right side. I think his decision making in the final third still needs some work, but that's something the more game time he's given, the better decisions he'll make. Now, between him and James, I'm still going with James, but I think he did a good job today of kind of giving Tuchel something to think about because he was probably one of our better players in the second half, which isn't saying a whole lot because, again, I think that center of the field is where we really started to lose the game, and that kind of took a lot of the players outside of the center of the field out of the game. So nobody really had a fantastic game in the second half, but Zappacosta I thought played well, and probably I would say he was our best player of all the subs that came on. I think Zappacosta was our best player. So nothing fantastic there, but good, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then Kennedy came on the left side, and he looked okay at times, but I don't know. There's always been something about Kennedy's game that's not really clicked with me. Because he's always had those moments where all of a sudden he'll pop up with something fantastic and he'll do, nice skill in the middle of the field to keep the ball, or he'll go on a nice run that causes some distress for the defense and it leads to a good chance. So he's had these moments where I just look at him, I'm thinking he's a good player, but then he just kind of fades out of the game and then makes some bad mistakes that make me go, oh my God, come on. I don't know. He's just always got that in him, and I feel like you can't have that in you when you're playing at this high of a level. If you're going to play for one of the top teams in the Premier League, you can't go on these great runs and then suddenly for about 20 minutes be making nothing but mistakes. So I don't know. He's still got that in him, and I saw it a bit today as well. Those couple of moments where it felt like you got to do more with it, and then he's making a mistake or he's giving the ball away too easily. So up and down performance from him, but overall, I guess okay. Probably one of the better players in the second half as well. So, and then the front three, kind of two at one point, started off with Ziyech, Havertz, and Werner up top, and all three of them I thought played well. Ziyech today, had my issues with him after that one issue against Arsenal where he could have finished the chance and then tried to be cheeky. Today, he did make some mistakes. He did have some moments that didn't come off, but he's trying something. He's being a bit more risky, but he's not trying to be clever or cheeky. He's actually trying to make something happen, and I don't have a problem with that. It's whenever you waste a chance to try to look more clever. That's when I have an issue with those types of wasted chances. But in the situation where he's got a pass to his left that would be safe, but he's also got Werner running in behind, so he's trying to chip him over. That's not a problem I have. I would prefer most of the time to keep possession, and there are some moments when I feel like if we need to keep possession, if it's kind of been a up and down, like what's the word I'm looking for, like a back and forth type of game, almost like a game of tennis. In those situations where we need to keep possession, those are the moments where I do get more frustrated with it. But in a game like today, where we have so much possession and we're not really creating much with it, Ziyech sometimes can pop up with something pretty clever in a moment where we need him to that can create a chance. And, he got both goals today, so clearly he's got that side of his game to him. But as long as he's not wasting obvious chances or wasting goals to try to do something and that's not coming off, as long as he's not doing that, I'm okay. If it's just something that he's trying to do, but it's a genuine attempt, that's fine. Havertz wasn't quite at his best today. It just felt like he sort of faded out of the game a little bit at times, but still okay. Still made some good runs. Still affected the game positively. So overall, he was okay. Just not quite as good as I've seen him so far this preseason. And then Werner, I thought, had another good game. Again, probably could do a bit better with the finishing, but for the most part, his runs are great. On the ball, he's done okay as well. Remember, there were a few games last season where he just could not get a touch in some games. It just felt like everything he touched went out of bounds or went to the other team. But today, I thought he kept possession well enough, and he really moved the ball around well. But again, the finishing, I know from a striker's perspective, he does need to finish more of his chances, but I also think a lot of what he brings still helps the team overall, even if he's not the one getting the finishes. So I really hope that people start to notice that more, because I know he's gotten a lot of flack from mainly the media because they want to make a story out of something that's nothing. But yeah, for his sake, I know he's probably lower on confidence because he keeps missing these chances. So I hope for his sake he does start to finish more as the season goes on. And then it ended with Pulisic, Abraham, and Angerin as the front three. Pulisic came on, and again, he was kind of a wing at first, then sort of moved into the front three once Zappacosta came on. And he started off well. I honestly think when they moved him into the front three is where kind of faded out of the game a little bit. And I think a lot of that is down to the type of player he is. I think he's better when he's in the space out wide because he has that space to run and take on the defenders at speed. Whereas when he's in the middle, he doesn't really have as much space to work with, and I feel like that kind of negates his game a little bit. So I do hope that Tuchel starts to look at possibly using him as a bit more of a wide player. Obviously, what's hard about that is you've already got James out there. Zappacosta's now thrown his hat into the ring to play out there. Hudson-Odoi we've already seen play out there. So for Pulisic to get time, I honestly would choose probably those three over him at the moment. So if he's going to be wider, that means one of your front three is going to be staying more wide, and that means your wing back's going to be driving in a bit more. And we don't really have any players that tend to do that. So I honestly think what the best option for him would be, and I think we did this a couple times last season, is if Alonso's playing, if you play him on the left of the front three, Alonso tends to drift in a bit more. And so now Pulisic can drift out wide, be that left-sided wing player. I think that could help him, and also it would make up for the fact that Alonso most of the time is not providing the width that we need him to. So I think that's something that could work for his sake. But yeah, once he shifted more central, I kind of feel like his runs were just sort of not really making much happen because there were so many other players around him that he couldn't really get up to the pace that makes him dangerous. So, but I don't know. He's always got that part of his game where he can suddenly turn on the flare for a moment. So he's still a dangerous player. But I feel like in games like this where it's very tight and compact, he's not really as effective. So there is that to consider. Abraham, I expected a bit more from him. He didn't have a whole lot of time when he came on. I think there was like 30-ish minutes left, something like that. So it's not like he had a whole lot of time to grow into the game, but I don't know. I wanted to see him do more with the time that he has. And I just felt like he wasted a couple chances, and he's been a striker that's been very energetic and really getting into good spaces in that final third. Today I didn't feel like he was doing that as much. It felt like he was not really as involved. And maybe that was coming from, again, your midfield is not helping you. So it's harder to get involved whenever we're not really getting the ball forward as much. Because, again, you've got Tortoise in the midfield. But it still felt like he wasn't really getting open, getting into good spaces around the defense. It just felt like he was sort of another body in there. And from Tammy's perspective, I feel like that's not good enough, because I've seen him play well this preseason. Today I felt like it was probably his weakest game. And then Anjorin, a player that's been kind of raved about. Is he going to make it in the first team of the season? Is he going to get some time? I see him as a good option. My only problem with him is the attitude. And the only reason I say that is because you could tell as the second half went on, too many moments where I feel like I'm looking at him and his head's dropped and he's walking. And, for Bakayoko, walking is kind of just in his game. Like, I don't know why he does it, but you can tell he doesn't really ever get up to speed. For Anjorin, he showed he has a speed, so that head drop walking is more of an attitude. It's a mentality thing for him. And I don't know why. I don't know if he was just getting frustrated that he wasn't getting the ball or, frustrated with the fact that we were tying, low-level Tottenham. I don't know what was going through his mind, but it was very apparent. I'm watching him and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like, why are you walking right now? Why is your head down? Go. We should be pressing as a team. In the first half, one of the reasons why we dominated the game is because we pressed them as a team and they could not get the ball out. Second half, we weren't pressing as a team. And too easy for them to play around us, too easy for them to get it down the field, and that's why they started to dominate the second half as it went on. And a lot of that comes down to you got to press from the front too. You got to put their defenders under pressure so that way they make mistakes, which then gives the ball to our team. So I don't know. I don't know what was going on because, again, on the ball, I thought he was doing some good stuff. He was really making some good chances, and I mean he had that one fantastic run that led to a great shot. But then as the second half faded on, I don't know what happened, but he faded out and just it looked like he didn't really want to play near the end of the half. So I don't know what was happening, but I got really disappointed with him just because I was seeing some good stuff and I was getting excited to watch him play more, and then I started to get really frustrated with him. So I don't know. I don't know what was happening, but hopefully he improves because he seems like he's got a lot of talent and he's got a lot of drive. He just didn't show it today. So, but with all that being said, that's it for the preseason. So now we go into the Super Cup against actual tough opposition. But I mean, first legitimate game, first time for the first team, some of the first teamers to play possibly because all the English players and then the Italian players and a couple others that were involved in some of their nations tournaments and stuff. Some of these players are coming back and they're going to be involved. Are they going to play much? Are they going to just sort of feature here and there? I don't know. I feel like there are some players that are very vital to how we play, like Chilwell, like Espilicueta, like Silva, like Mount. I mean, these players are players that I want to see play. So is Tuchel going to say, well, we want to win this game, so let's risk it? Or is he going to think, for the season, we want to make sure we don't lose people because they're not ready. They're not fully fit, and so they're going to possibly pull something. So let's not risk it for this game, even though it is a big game. Winning the Super Cup, I don't think we've ever done that. I'm pretty sure we've never done that. So this is something that we should be winning. So let's go win it, and I hope that we go out fully fit, ready to play. But also I hope that we're smart about it too and we don't lose some of our best players for the season. So we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for this season. I'm still waiting patiently to see what the transfer window is going to bring, because it's something that we gotta finally get into because we haven't really. We brought in a backup keeper, and we've sold some good players. We've loaned some good players, so we've still got some improving to do. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it for this game. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.